Hello everyone! Today is the 15th of April and I thought I would do something a bit different this month, try something a little bit different. I thought I would talk about the books that I'm reading throughout the month as I finish them, in the hopes that I remember them a bit better, and so I'll be able to talk about them a little bit more fluently, maybe, maybe not. And then at the end of the month I'll do like a little roundup of how many stars I give each book. Hopefully you enjoy this kind of video. And so far this month I have finished 3 books and I'm reading 2 more at the moment. The first book I finished was on my Kindle and it was, oh god, what's it called? It's called It's Not Her by Mary Kubica. I have read one of her books before. I listened to it on audio actually. It's one of the first books I ever listened to on audio and I really didn't like it. It was narrated by a man and he put on this really silly voice for all the women characters and it just really irritated me. And it put me off the book completely, and I have never read another book by her. Like a brother and sister and their other halves and their children. And they go on a cabin holiday in the woods, as you do in America. And they each have 2 little girls who are about 10 years old. And then the one family also has a teenage girl who's about 17 and a boy who is 15. The book opens like straight into the action. The 2 little girls have had a sleepover the one little girl goes home to her cabin. This is really complicated. It's really confusing. She goes over to her cabin where her parents and her brother and sister are, and she goes into the house and she finds her mum and dad have been murdered, like really brutally murdered. And so the story continues from there and we're trying to find out who murdered them and also where the older sister is because she's gone missing. Oh, oh dear, sorry, the sun's just come out. Wow, okay, the sun's just come out from behind a cloud. That's really bright. It's really quite tense, this book. It's there's like twists and turns and you really don't know what's going on. And I did enjoy the book. It was like fast-paced, page-turning, wanted to know what happened. But I didn't really like any of the characters. They were all pretty horrible, really. Like the 2 little girls who are supposed to be around 10 years old, they are just awful. They do some really horrible things that I don't know if 10-year-olds would actually act the way these 2 girls act. The teenage girl is horrible. She's just, like, I get she's a teenager, she's going through some stuff. It's hard being a teenager, especially in this day and age. But she's just awful to her family, like really horrible. And then the boy, the 15-year-old boy, he is also just horrendous. The way he treats his family is just awful. So in some ways it made me feel pretty good about my 2. I mean, they're not teenagers anymore, but like they did not behave like that when they were teenagers. These two kids were just awful. And then the grown-ups weren't really a whole lot better. There was not really any character that I was rooting for, but the story was engaging and intriguing and I wanted to know what happened. And then like there's twists and turns throughout the story and keeps you guessing. And overall, I did enjoy this book. And I probably will read another book of hers. I'll give her another go. It wasn't one of my favourites, but I'll give her another go and see how I get on with another of her books. Sorry about the sun, it's like going in and out. Anyway, there's not much I can do about that. I could close the blind, but then it would be too dark probably. So then it was coming up to the Easter weekend, so we had a long weekend, a 4-day weekend, and I had the following week off of work. So I decided to pick up a chunky book that's been on my shelf for literally years. And so I picked up East of Eden by John Steinbeck in this amazing edition. I love this edition. This is the Steinbeck Centennial edition. So this is a chonker. How many pages? It's like almost 600 pages. And I've been wanting to read it for a really long time. I've read Of Mice and Men by him,
which I really enjoyed, which is the absolute complete opposite of this. It's like 100 pages, if that. Well, yeah, it is around probably 150 pages. So I really enjoyed that, and so I wanted to give this one a go. This one is set in California, which intrigued me. And this is a classic for a reason. Like the writing is impeccable. Um, it's not a classic in the like cerebral kind of highbrow sense of the word. It's just a classic because it's a brilliant story, really well written. It's easy to follow, easy to read. Um, it's a bit of a slow burner. It's not the most fast-paced novel in the world, but the characters are really well drawn. You can imagine the whole all the different storylines that are going on. It kind of gave me Lonesome Dove vibes. Lonesome Dove is one of my most favourite books ever. It's up there on my favourite shelf. Um, and it kind of felt a little bit like that. It wasn't as, I don't know, Lonesome Dove's quite kind of, it's got a bit of excitement to it. This one isn't particularly exciting, but like you fall in love with the characters, you really want them to do well. It's really touching and makes you feel emotional for the characters. Um, so throughout the book, I was thinking this is like a 3.5 star read. It's really good, but it is a bit slow paced. It took me a little while to get into, but then the last 100 pages or so, it really picked up, and this ended up being a 4 star read for me. Absolutely enjoyed it so much, and yeah, I'm definitely going to read more of John Steinbeck's work. So after East of Eden, I wanted something a bit more fast paced, and one of my favourite authors had just released a new book. Claire Mackintosh brought out It's Not What You Think. Now, Claire Mackintosh wrote one of my favourite books ever called I Let You Go. I've talked about that in one of my other videos, which I will link. I Let You Go was the first book that I read that had like a major twist in the middle of the story that just absolutely blew my mind. And ever since then, no book with like all these books that claim to have this major twist and blah blah blah, they just do not live up to I Let You Go. Claire Mackintosh recognises that. She knows that people who have I Let You Go as one of their favourite books are desperate for another book that matches that, and she says she wrote this book for those people, the people who love I Let You Go. So I was really excited to read this one. So I pre-ordered it, and I think I started reading it the day I got it, so on the day of release. And it didn't disappoint me. It wasn't quite a 5 star read. There's lots of twists in here. There's one kind of major twist, which I can't say I saw the twist coming, but when I was reading up to the point where the twist happens, like something happens and I was thinking, well, that's not right. That would never happen in real life. And lo and behold, it twisted, and it wasn't what you think, as in the title of the book. This couldn't have a better title. It's Not What You Think is exactly the whole of this book. It's not what you think. So I didn't see the twist coming, but I kind of suspected there was something not quite right there. So basically in this book, we are following a woman called Nadika. She is on the phone to her husband, or her partner, it's not her husband, and she hears a woman in the background, and she already suspects that he is having an affair. She hears this woman in the background, and he says, oh, no, I'm at work, blah, blah, blah. This is, it's, the HR manager or somebody that you can hear in the background. But then she hears a train, and she knows that where he works is nowhere near a train line. So she knows he's lying. She thinks he's at home. So she puts down the phone, and she's like, right, I'm going to go and catch him red-handed. This SOB, I'm going to catch him out. So she goes home. On the way there, she gets stopped by the police for going through a red light and speeding because she wants to get home to catch him. They let her go eventually, and then she rocks up at home, and there's a police car outside her house, and she goes inside her house, and her partner has been murdered in the front room. He's dead. And then shenanigans ensue. So it is super twisty, super tense, very clever, very topical. There's a lot of talking here about the immigrant situation in England at the moment, and she handles it really well. I really, really enjoyed this book. I'm going to give it 4.75 stars just because of that twist. It wasn't quite as mind blowing to me as I Let You Go. So highly, highly recommend this book. If you haven't read any of her work before, I highly recommend it. You should definitely pick her up. This is as good a place as any to start, I think. Yeah, it's really enjoyable, fantastic read, and highly recommend. Oh, and not only that, look at this. Oh, sorry, this is hard to do with one hand. It's got these really nice end pages, and look at the naked cover. It's so pretty. So yeah, very much enjoyed this book and can't wait for her to bring out another one. I know we'll have a bit of a long wait, seeing as this one is brand new, but absolutely highly recommend her books. So those are the 3 books I've read so far in April. I'm reading 2 books at the moment. Still no 5-star. I was hoping that my next read would be a 5-star, and that is Shuggie Bain by Douglas Stewart. I've heard that this is kind of gives Demon Copperhead vibes, and I read Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver last year, and it wasn't quite a 5-star read for me. It was a bit slow in parts, but really enjoyed it. Or, well, enjoyed isn't the right word, but so I have still got really high hopes for this one. I'm on around page 70 at the moment. It's a bit of a slow burner, to be honest. Dare I say, I'm a little bit bored, which is an awful thing to say about a book like this. So if you don't know, Shuggie Bain, I'm sure everybody knows about this book, but this follows the story of a young boy, so far, this is what I know, growing up in poverty. His mum is an alcoholic, his dad is a piece of shit. He's got an older brother and sister who I don't know if they stay in touch throughout this book. I really hope that they do. The book opens with him as a 16-year-old living on his own in like this tiny little bedsit place in one of the tenement blocks in Glasgow. And then it quickly shifts back to when he's 6 years old, I think, 5 or 6, growing up with his mum. They live with his grandparents, his mum and his brother and sister, and his dad seems to flit in and out. So it's like he's growing up in poverty, and I know that it's only going to get worse for him. So far, it just feels a little bit slow. Not a huge amount of action, although I think it's probably about to pick up. I'm only like 70 pages in, so I'm hopeful that it's going to pick up from here, and we'll see how that goes. And then the other book I'm reading at the moment is on my Kindle, and that is Fundamentally by, I can't remember her name, but I'll put it up on the screen. And that is a book about a woman who gets a job working on a project for the UN to rehabilitate and repatriate ISIS brides back to the UK. So it's a really serious subject, an important subject, but it's actually really funny. And I know I've said on this channel so many times in my videos that I don't like funny books, but this one is really funny, and it's really making me laugh, and I am really enjoying it. I think I'm about 35% of the way through that one. So yeah, the main character is really kind of snarky and it is just really funny. And it's really interesting how she's dealing with such a serious topic but making it humorous and easy to relate to. And I'm learning a lot about Iraq and stuff I don't know anything about really. So it's really good in that way. So yeah, looking forward to finishing that one. Yeah, so that is it for now. I will catch up with you again maybe when I'm about halfway through Shuggie Bain. We'll see
how we're doing. Hopefully it will have picked up for me by then. Finished reading Shuggie Bain by Douglas Stewart, and oh my goodness, this is bleak and depressing, and it's left me feeling pretty miserable, to be honest. I mean, this poor boy, and also this is a story that is just too common, I think. These poor children who live and the poor women and the families as well, it's just awful. So if you don't know, this story is about a young boy called Shuggie Bain who's growing up in this family, and his mum is an alcoholic and his dad is just this awful, disgusting specimen of a human being. And the mum, she just goes through a terrible time. It's just a life of hardship and misery, really. There's really no light moments in this book. It's just utterly miserable. It wasn't really what I was hoping for, although I would put this in the same vein as A Little Life, which I loved. That's one of my favourite books. And Demon Copperhead. It took me, it's not a very long book. It's like 300-ish pages, I think. Oh, 430 pages. But it took me quite a long time to read. It's quite slow, and it's a bit of a slog, if I'm honest. And yeah, it's not a bundle of laughs. But I think it's an important book. I think I like reading books like this. I don't know, saying you enjoy reading books about poverty makes you sound awful, but I find it really interesting how people fight to survive, and what they will do to survive. And this is a survival story, and it is a bit hopeful in the end. It kind of ends on a hopeful note. All in all, I wouldn't say this is an enjoyable book, but I think it's important. It's well written. It's a difficult read, and you need to be in the right frame of mind to read it. And if you are, then read it. If you're not, read it at a later date when you are, I would say. I think, it's an important book, and people should read these kind of stories, because not everybody has a great life, and it's very sad. I want to read something a bit more uplifting, I think. I am still reading Fundamentally on my Kindle. I think I'm about 50% through that one, which is a good read. I'm enjoying that, but it's not exactly a bundle of laughs. It is funny, though. It's like a very serious subject, and also kind of infuriating in many ways. I like to read two books at the same time. I like to have a physical book for when I'm, during the day, taking with me, not really taking out with me, to be honest, but for during the day, when I'm in the evenings, when I'm reading in front of the TV or whatever. And then I like to have a book on my Kindle for when I'm on the bus. I can't read a physical book when I'm on the bus. It makes me feel sick, but I can read my Kindle. So I get the bus home from work most days. So, and then I like to read my Kindle before I go to bed as well. And sometimes if I wake up during the night, because I don't sleep fantastically, and I can read that without disturbing Dave. So I like to have the two books on the go. So I am going to turn you around to show you the books that I have got earmarked for spring reading, and see if there's anything that strikes me as maybe being a bit more light-hearted. Okay, so these are the books that I am planning or hoping to read this spring. Let's have a look and see what we've got. So this is The Secret Lives of Murderers' Wives. So I think this is a bit of a thriller. It's not really what I want to read right now, so I'm going to say no to that one for the moment. Ariadne, I think, is probably a bit too much for my brain right now.
Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. So this is a possibility. This is going to be a light, fluffy, light-hearted read. I'm not huge on romance, but I do quite like her books. I think I've read 2 so far, although I can't distinguish them from each other, so they are very samey. But okay, this one's a possibility. I'll put that one aside. Deep Cuts by Holly Brickley. This is getting a bit of buzz at the moment. I think it might have just come out in paperback. It's a possibility. I think it's probably quite light-hearted, maybe. But it's about music, I think. And I'm not sure I really want to get into that right now. So maybe no for now. This is definitely not for right now. We're all guilty here. No one is innocent. Not a light, fluffy read. This Far-Flung Life by M.L. Stedman. I definitely want to read this, but I don't think it's what I'm looking for right now. I think this is too much of an emotional read and I need a break from emotion. So that's a no for now. Go as a River by Shelley Reid. So this one is a possibility. I think this is going to be a nice, gentle read. I don't know if that's correct at all. Although it says a story of love and loss, the resilience of the human spirit. Maybe not right now. God, what else? A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. Definitely want to read it, but not for right now. Silence of the Girls is another one that I think requires a bit more brain power than I have within me at the moment. Oh God. Oh. The New Neighbours by Claire Douglas. So this is like a popcorn thriller. It's a possibility, but I am not in the market for anything tense at the moment, so I think that's a no for now. Oh, Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. Full of heart and humour. Okay, this is a possibility. Okay, so let me have a look at these 2 and I'll let you know. Okay, I think I've made my mind up. So this, I think, is going to require me to suspend belief a little bit. It talks about the octopus as being a detective and deducing what happened the night Tova's son disappeared. I am not sure that that's something I want to do at the moment, suspending belief. I think I just need to be able to detach my brain completely and just get lost in a light story. So I think I'm going to go for Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. Although, I've got to say, not loving the font. See, this is what happens when you get old. I mean, it's not that it's small or anything, it's just an odd font. I don't know what font it is. I know they sometimes tell you, don't they? I wonder if this does. No, doesn't look like it does. Anyway, I will try and get over that. And yeah, let's give that a go. So that's it for now. I am going to maybe make a start on A Great Big Beautiful Life. See how that goes. I could actually just read Fundamentally, get that finished. I might do that actually, after all that. Maybe I'll just read that for now and get that finished, and then I'll have 2 blank spots. I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, I will catch up with you again when I have something more to report. See you then. finished This Story Might Save Your Life by Tiffany Crum a couple of days ago now. A couple of days ago. And this was very nearly a 5-star read for me. I love the story. I love the characters. I love the setting. I've loved being able to recognise a lot of where this is set, like some of the places that they go to and that they mention in the story I've been to, and I really loved that. What I didn't like, I loved like the whole podcast side to it, but what I didn't like was that it is so obvious that it's heavily inspired by the My Favourite Murder podcast. I used to listen to that podcast and enjoyed it. Started to get on my nerves a bit towards, after a while. And I don't listen to it anymore. But it's just so obvious that is the inspiration for this book. And that just put me off a little bit. So if it wasn't for that, this would have been a 5-star read. The story kept me guessing, kind of. I mean, it's pretty obvious what's going on, but it was intriguing, page-turning, like a fast read, really nicely written, but just that super heavy reliance on the whole My Favourite Murder trajectory, like how they started the podcast, shot to fame, did a tour, did a book, the whole thing is basically this book. So that put me off a little bit. But apart from that, absolutely brilliant. And I think this is her debut. Is it her debut? I think it is. Yeah, this is her debut book. So I would definitely read anything more written by her. I loved the way it was written. Just would like to see something inspired by something else that maybe I'm not so familiar with, or that she doesn't rely on so heavily. Also, this cover is just stunning. I absolutely love it. Absolutely takes me back to LA. And yeah, the English copy is just really ugly. So I'm glad I was able to get myself the American version. So it's the 30th of April today. I am, I think, about 40% through She Made Herself a Monster. It's a bit of a slog, not absolutely riveted by it, but hopefully I will finish that today. So tomorrow is the 1st of May. I don't know if I'm going to finish that book, but I will try my best to finish it. And then I will do a little roundup of everything that I've read this month. So I will see you for that. Hi everyone, back to give you a very quick roundup of all the books that I read in April. Today is the 30th of April. I am currently in the middle of one book, which I will talk about at the end, and I'm not sure if I'm going to finish that. So I read 7 books in April, which is really good going for me. I'll go through them very quickly in the order that I read them. The first one I read was on my Kindle, and that was It's Not Her by Mary Kubica. This was okay, it was fine. I gave it 3 stars, nothing to write home about, but it was fine. Then I read East of Eden by John Steinbeck. Really enjoyed this very, very much. 4.5 stars, just a little bit too long, a little bit too slow going for me, but it picked up towards the end. Highly recommend. Then I read It's Not What You Think by Claire McIntosh. I had really high hopes for this one. I was really hoping this was going to be my 5-star read of the month, but it just didn't quite do it for me. I thought the twist was a bit too obvious and wasn't the huge twist that we were promised, but still very enjoyable. Very much enjoyed this book. Ripped through it really quickly, and still an ought-to-buy author for me. Sorry, I gave It's Not What You Think 4 stars. Then I read Shuggie Bain by Douglas Stewart. I gave this 3.5 stars. I thought it was okay. Grim. Completely grim. Absolutely bleak. Nothing hopeful, really, about this book. But that is what I was expecting. I just found it a little bit of a slog to get through, to be honest. So 3.5 4.5 stars for this one. Then I read Fundamentally by Nusaiba Yunus on my Kindle. This was okay. I actually, it was better than okay. I did enjoy it. It did make me laugh out loud. But in the end, just found it a bit annoying and gave that one 3 stars. Then I read What Happens in the Dark by Kia Abdullah on my Kindle. This was really good. Really loved the courtroom aspect of this one. I was gripped by the whole story from beginning to end. And I gave that one 4.5 stars. And then the final book I finished in the month of April was This Story Might Save Your Life by Tiffany Crum. Enjoyed this one. Will read more of hers. Didn't quite meet my 5-star threshold. But I would give this one 4 stars and definitely going to read anything else that this author brings out. So those are the 7 books that I finished in April. I am about 40% of the way through She Made Herself a Monster by Anna Kavecheva. I think that's how you say her name. And this one is, I don't think it's going to be a 5-star. It's a bit slow going, but hopefully I will finish it tonight. But I will talk about that next month. So those are all the books that I read in April. If you've read any of them, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I would also like to know what your favourite book of the month was. So next month, the month of May, is Read Africa month. And so my next video is going to be some recommendations to read, some recommendations of African authors to read during the month of May. So look out for that one. Thank you for watching. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you've enjoyed my video. And I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.